This past New Year, I decided to hit the Mercado for ingredients and made a tonkatsu broth-inspired pozole. It's still funny to me the things we pay extra for in the US that are the norm here, like locally sourced and fresh meat and produce. LOL. Anyway, I got 2 cuts of pork bones for a broth. I got chamorro, which comes from the upper part of the grider, and espinazo, or the spinal, both with all that collagen and connective tissue and bone for that ass. I started by picking through the pre-mixed tamaleized maize I got, looking for broken ones and any other impurities. This part was probably the most tedious. I grew the good, nice and cute ones with a little onion, garlic, and bay leaf and let that shite go on medium heat. After soaking and rinsing the pork for a few minutes, I noticed the espinazo had a funny shape that was making me hungry. Yummy yummy. Also, I noticed a gang load of good meat on some pieces, so I trimmed and saved for later. Then, I blanched the bones for a few minutes and replaced the scummy water, added mild spice, ginger, and garlic and kept coming back to skim the scum. I took a piece of onion out. I didn't want it to overpower the broth. After all, you want to feel and taste the entire bone. I had an extra little pot of water going to replenish any liquid since both pots were gonna cook for a cool minute. I also remembered I had some oysters rooms I dehydrated and threw them in the broth too. Fuck, why not? After that, I got to making the brine for the pork. I toasted the spices to release the vibes and went from the big to little to not burn them. I weighed the pork butt and looked it according to this book, plus Google added 3% of its weight in salt. Used some of this licorice salt too. The trim I took off, I added it to the broth since it still had some ways to go. I brined the meat overnight with some basil and fresh herbs from the nature. Day 1 was done and I realized I did a great job so far, so I gave myself a thank you treat. After a few hours the maize gets soft and looks like wet popcorn. It's ready. I seasoned, let it cool, and stored it in the fridge. About 16 hours later I took the broth off the flame. High fat, low acid, you always want to cool down fast. I tried something that didn't work, so I just went with the classic high fat. I saved a few cups to make some ramen later. I was so proud of myself that I knew I needed to congratulate myself. Great job, guess. But guess what? I was out here thinking the annoying parts were over. Wrong. After wiping down and deveining the chili, I heated up the pan for the salsa in the pot I was going to use to brown the pork. I had already had airing out in the fridge. For the salsa I started by sauteing the onions since the dry chas gonna take but a few seconds before they start to get bitter, and I didn't want to fuck everything up after all that work. So I blended it up, drained some of the juice released by the pork since I overcrowded the pot like a sick ass stupid ass. Anyways, pork browned, all that's left is to combine and let the pork braise for another 2 hours. I would usually throw the hominy in the oven when I would get it from the can to remove the can flavor, and I figured I would toast it a bit now too. Finally, all that was left was the bag. This pozole really clapped my mouth's cheeks per se with its thick and decadent deliciousness and was worth all the work.